How's everybody doing? Can y'all hear me okay tonight? We got a lot planned out tonight. We're going to be talking about. I think it's going to get pretty interesting tonight. Probably a lot of you may know what we're going to talk about, and a lot of you are probably going to be surprised at what we're going to be talking about. Um, should be interesting tonight. I may be a little slow talking. I'm still healing a little bit, but I'm definitely going to get there. It's hard to keep me from talking. I like to talk. Uh, Good. Shelly says we're good and clear. Good. We're just waiting on a, small connectivity issue we're having with one of the co-hosts right now, and he is working on it. Good to see you, Spooktator Bob. It's been a while since we've seen you in the chat. Glad you could make it in. Hello, Aussie Sue. Hello, Shelly. She's going to be moderating tonight for us. Scared Silly's here tonight. Good to see you. John from John P. Adventures is here. Scott Bimmel's here. Aussie Sue's here. Wendy's here. It's good to see all you guys coming into the chat tonight. I think it's going to be a pretty good site. It's going to be interesting tonight for sure what we're going to be talking about. I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to really enjoy this one. Cindy, we appreciate the super you've already sent in. We appreciate it. We don't expect it, but it's always appreciated. So thank you very much, Cynthia, for that. And I'm healing, Cynthia. It's a little sore tonight. Got some stitches in my mouth about the length of my jaw, but I like to talk, so I'm not going to let that stop me. uh, we're working on everything, getting everything situated. It looks like Kurt's coming in backstage. He's got his issues took care of. Um, Equipment is fun to deal with, let me tell you. Um, I just want to thank you all for joining tonight. None of you guys are taken for granted. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you guys that's on here tonight. Um, y'all are, very important to us. It's not just, certain people, certain individuals. It's everybody that makes the family, that makes the channel work. And, we're glad to have each and every one of you. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and bring everybody in from backstage before I finish the introduction, because there's some things I want to do in the introduction that will probably make more sense to you guys with them present. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Cal and Kurt. Go ahead and bring them live.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody
Good
tonight?
evening.
Good to see you guys. I wanted to go ahead and bring you all in while I done the introduction. I explained to everybody that I may be a little slower tonight, but you can't keep me from talking. Kirk's told me about 50 times this week to get off the channel and rest, and uh, I still call him even if I'm mumbling when I talk to him.
That's okay. You can
Uh,
call me anytime. You know that, brother.
oh yeah, I
Hey,
appreciate that.
Henry.
Poor Cal, I heard Cal a little bit.
Okay, you hearing me now?
There he is.
Yeah, I was saying hello to Henry.
Yep, I'm adjusting it.
Aussie Sue, hello.
There we go.
Hello, Donna.
I boosted him. I don't know if it helped any on y'all's end, but I did boost Cal's. Hopefully that will help. I'm
Good.
learning new things on here. I'll be playing with all
Could,
kinds of things before it's over.
Good.
uh, Everybody knows, I guess, one of the topics tonight. But before we get to the topic tonight, since it was a friend of Kurt's and everything, I would like to give him the honor of dedicating and in remembrance to a good friend of his and a person to the cryptid community that we've lost. And since you knew her and everything, I'd like to give you the honor to be able to go
I
ahead and announce
appreciate
that. That's
that,
why I wanted to
Mike.
bring you all in.
Guys, I would really appreciate your thoughts and prayers. Claudia Ackley, who was another Bigfoot researcher, actually one that had guts enough to sue the federal government over disclosure of Bigfoot, passed away on July 2nd. Let's keep her and her family in our prayers. They're going through a very tough time right now, and let's honor her memory. And the best way I think we can honor her memory is proving that these creatures are real. And I will be working toward that. That is, shall we say, one of
And
the
I'm
importance
sure that
of
probably
Take it away, Mike.
I'm getting a lot of lag on your end. I don't know if it's me or Cal. Is it? Am I lagging on your end?
no, you're not lagging on my end.
Am I
Okay.
lagging on
Well, I
your
had a
end,
little
Cal?
lag with you, Kurt.
No, no. You and Kurt both are coming in loud and clear on my end. No lag whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Uh, I had some lag. It may be my internet here. Uh, so one of the subjects we're going to talk about tonight, which isn't going to be a surprise to a lot of people, is going to be, well, why boots on the ground is so important. I feel like it needs to be discussed. I feel like it's important, and I feel like that there is a need for this. And it doesn't just go with the cryptid community. I believe it goes with any investigator that's doing anything. That it's important to be able to do that, and we're going to talk about that later. Get more in depth into that. But first, we're going to talk about a few encounters and Spearfinger. We've got a lot of people asked a lot of questions about Spearfinger. Who is Spearfinger? And I believe Kirk has got some encounters with Spearfinger that some people may have had. And I want to go ahead and let him start off talking a little bit about what he knows about it and kind of what's happened with that.
Okay, in 2011, a friend of mine, Thomas Bryant, and myself were down in Braxton County, West Virginia. I won't give the exact location, but we were going into a holler that had trees on the right hand side as we were walking back. Tom was all the way against the wood line. I was probably about 25 yards to the left of him, walking more toward the center. We got back, 100, 125 yards off the dirt path that we had to take to get back to where we were. And just all of a sudden, Tom yelled out, "Hey!" And instantly I turned to look at him. Thought he was talking to me. Well, what actually happened was, quote, an old lady, all white, all in white, reached out of the wood line, and he doesn't know what she cut him with, but she cut him on the thigh, just missing the femoral artery, right about the bottom of where your pants pocket would be. Good to know that, Frida. Very bad cut, was 3 inches long, was so deep that we got him to the hospital, and he literally had to have a transfusion, took 2 units of blood, had over 35 stitches in that cut. Bad cut. I didn't see anything. He explained it to me that it was an old lady. He never saw a weapon. She was all white. He said, at first I thought it was a ghost. He said, I thought I was seeing things. But then the instant pain and the blood, and had we been much farther back in, he would never made it to the hospital. He would have bled out. Or had she been another inch farther. So, as he was recovering, at the time he was my only, shall we say, team member that would go out with me at the time. So basically we spent a lot of time on the keyboard, on the internet, researching the legend of an old lady, possibly what it could be. Was, didn't know whether it was a ghost, what the hell it was. Well, come to find out that by Cherokee legend and also by Shawnee legend, it is what's known as Spearfinger. It's almost like a skinwalker. Not really a skinwalker, but very similar to a skinwalker. And that once you've been cut by her, Cynthia, I don't know. Some have said it's a cross between that and a skinwalker. Once you've been cut by her, you are, quote, marked. And at any time, she can come back and get you. So we spent more time digging into what this legend was, and her name ended up being Spearfinger. Like I said, she is Shawnee and Cherokee. Her range spanned from Blood Mountain in Georgia all the way up to the Pennsylvania-New York border, mainly just here on the East Coast, not going in any farther than, shall we say, the western border of North Carolina. The Native Americans, those two tribes, feared her greatly. Kimmy, nice to see you here. Tamara, nice to see you here. The tribe spared her greatly. I mean, the time we spent as he was recovering, the information that we were able to gather by being keyboard was very important. It gave us knowledge on how to deal with it going forward. But on the other hand, had we not been out there, we would have never known anything about it. Hell, I'd never heard of it. And Grandma was full blood Cherokee. So, you would have thought that I should have heard something about it. But Spearfinger is something that both the Cherokee and the Shawnee feared so much they wouldn't even talk about it. It was taboo to talk about it because they thought that that would cause it to come visit you. And that was the last thing they wanted. Like I said, they kind of alluded to it being almost a type of skinwalker, but not really a skinwalker. Yeah, like I say, had we not been out there, we would never known about it. Although, if we hadn't been out there, Tom wouldn't have got hurt. But, we know what the risks are when we go out to do this stuff. But we also know that there can be great advancements made. Just one simple trip out may be the breaking point that gives us all the information we need. Haven't hit it yet, but we're working on it. Mike, if I'm not mistaken, this actually very much mimics something that happened with you.
Yeah, we was out. It was probably about 2 a.m. one night. It wasn't even on any kind of holiday. It wasn't Halloween. Wasn't even a weekend. And we were out just driving around. And well, it wasn't uncommon for us to drive around at night. We would, bonfires, fishing, stuff like that. And we went down to this old road. And when you go down this road, there's just two like tire tracks with grass in the middle and really tall grass on the sides for one vehicle to make it down. And where it went was to the old water pump that fed the water plant, which was the little town we lived in. They pumped the water out of the lake up to the water plant to where they could treat the water. We would always drive out to the old pump down there and set out, camp and hang out and everything. We was on our way down there one night, and as we're driving, the headlights are on the grass. My cousin's driving, and when the headlights are on the grass kind of peels back, and a lady sticks her face through the grass at us and smiles at us. Now, she wasn't, like a witch or green or anything like that. She was like an old lady, long white hair. It was combed really nicely. And to be out there, you'd be amazed it was even combed like that. And she looked out of the grass at us as we went past her, which it scared the hell out of us. We went on down there, and we turned around in the big area where we would normally have the campfire. Well, we was dreading leaving because we knew that to leave, we had to drive right back past where she was standing, which was a one-way trail. And we're hating this. We're like, gosh, I don't want to do this, but we didn't want to stay down there either, knowing that she was out
Right.
there. So hunting and living, on the farm and all, we had a 30-30 behind the seat of the truck. So we got the 30-30 out and we loaded it, and we start heading back out, hoping we don't see this. And whenever we start back down, we don't see her looking through the grass. But whenever we go past, you have to ride your brakes. There's large chug holes where you have to go through and stuff where people go fishing with the big 4-wheel drives. So you have to go slow through these. So he hits his brakes to go down through these big holes, and she's behind us in a white dress, barefoot, running after the truck. So I start yelling at him, go, 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 go. So he puts the pedal to the metal. I mean, we take off. She's running behind us as we're going around through all this grass and everything, beating on the tailgate in a white dress, barefooted, in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, it never happened again. But why that happened, we have no idea. I mean, there was no reason for her to be down there. It wasn't a weekend, it wasn't a holiday. And in these places down there, there's wild hogs, there's thorn trees, there's stickers, there's water moccasins, rattlesnakes. I mean, you just don't walk down there barefooted. There's broken glass pipes where the old oil fields were at, and it just didn't make no sense. Carolina girl said that she saw the video. I thought I had done a video on that. I was sure I had, and I mean, it was crazy what this lady had done. It was, I don't know, I don't even know what she was.
Well, the way you describing her, all in white, that's Spearfinger. And as an old lady, she can shapeshift into anything, animal or human, and that's what a lot of when the Cherokee saw her, a lot of times she would be an old lady dressed in white. So yeah, you was dead spot on with that one.
Now, keep in
Oh,
mind,
she scared the hell
according
out
to
of us.
Cherokee legend, the only
It was
way that
just like,
Spearfinger can be killed,
very uncommon, very weird.
yeah, the only way Spearfinger can be killed, according to Cherokee legend, is to actually remove that finger from her body, be it cut it off, shoot it off, whatever. But the finger is the key to her life. Her heart is in that finger, along with that nail, is said to be able to pierce a human's heart. It
Yeah,
is razor blade.
yeah, it's an obsidian blade finger, but there's a legend also says that she's made of rock and stone, and her only weakness is her heart, which she carries in her hand with the spear finger.
Do you see what Johnny says?
No.
That's what I was wondering. I
So
wanted to
I,
throw that up there. Uh,
Oh yes.
she had a 6 foot tail.
I doubt that.
I can't believe that. I mean,
6 foot tail.
quite frankly, that one was close enough that it was able to reach out and cut Tom. I will guarantee you Tom would have seen that had she. Hi, Sheldon.
Right. And the lady that I saw down there also, she was just a normal looking lady, just out of place where she was at and how she was dressed. I mean, it was just
And that's that's pretty well what Tom described this lady as.
and you
That's
know
Other
how I
right.
than
am, how
being
hard headed I am.
really fast after she cut him.
Right. And you know how I am as far as the legends and stuff. I don't believe in the shape shifting. I believe more along the lines of the possession, uh, and even more so after talking to the elders that I was able to speak to during the Girl Scout investigation. They even, through their rituals and their sweat lodges and through their beliefs and everything, they even corrected me and said it's not as what you think it is. It's not, you know, pretty much what he was saying was we the people that don't understand, we believe it to be far more than what it really is. It's more of a small transformation. Uh, there is a different look, but it's not as grand as what we would believe it to be. Um, you know, I even asked one of them. I said, "Are they able to die?" And they said yes. You know, but as far as the complete shape shifting to change into something else, all the shamans agreed it's not a complete change, that it is more of a mental possession, kind of like Lisa told us about her brother biting her dad or his
Yeah.
brother. That the bite mark was not human, but he had not also changed into something else.
But yet, how do we explain the London, Ohio werewolf? That it's pretty well documented was an old man, actually named George, that worked at a tire place, who was kept one of the rooms at the house he lived in that was back in the middle of nowhere, actually had the inside of the room lined with 5/8 steel boilerplate, deep scratches on the wall that a human or any known animal couldn't have done. When he was in the quote werewolf form, he was actually tracked back to that house. They know that the werewolf went in that house. And later, he didn't show up for work for several days. His boss asked the police to go check on him. When they did, they found him dead. They found the boilerplate room. They found the deep gouges in it. Just, there's no explanation for it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the one I also read about too. That the townspeople chased a guy down that was supposed to be a werewolf eating the children, in front of the women. And whenever they chased him down, they removed a belt, if I remember right, from him, and he
Yeah.
transformed back into that person in front of the whole hunting party.
Yeah,
So I
he
mean,
had that.
there may be some kind of a
I know the one
demonic
you're talking. I know the one you're talking about.
transformation.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Maybe that was
Now, as I
a
said,
demonic
that happened
transformation.
in London.
Every
Yeah, that happened in London, Ohio, 1980 and 1981.
okay, the one I read about was a lot older, but that they had noticed something I thought was really interesting. Every werewolf encounter that they had, not just this one town, but other towns, they had noticed that the person that was transforming wore some kind of a belt. They weren't always the same belt, and their story was always
Right.
the same. They had made a deal with the devil, and the devil had given them a belt, which they would wear, that would transform them into a bloodthirsty beast. And I thought that was really interesting.
That is. I mean, yeah, I can wholeheartedly believe that there was a deal made with the devil to do that, because there's nothing good about a werewolf. Chris Utter, which encounter are you referring to as far as the
Uh,
sleep paralysis goes?
I put Johnny Calories in timeout. Uh,
That was probably a good
for just
idea.
making a lot of off the wall comments. Yeah, if he does it again when he returns, he'll be banned permanently. I mean, if
Suspend
he
him.
wants to be part of the conversation, not yet. I just gave him timeout. But if he wants to be
Okay.
part of the conversation and give to it, and
Keep it civil.
Sure.
yeah, but he's making a lot of things that just isn't going with what we're saying. Uh, yeah, I think that when it comes from a lot of different towns and a lot of different areas, and the reports are all the same, there's something going on because I mean something's happening. I mean, if everybody's wearing a
Yeah,
belt of some sort,
you've got to give credence to that.
oh yeah, you have
Oh
to.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
you know, I would hate to run on. I mean, but but then there's stories that are unexplainable too. I mean, I'm not going to say any names. There was a lady that lived in the small town that I live by. People were seeing a a creature, a female origin, at nighttime along the road, and a lot of people seen it. It was turned into the law several times. One person almost ran over it, scared him to death. But they called it a female that looked like a deer that was on two legs. They said it was like a deer woman, is what they called it. Uh, one guy one night driving a semi, he worked long hours at night. He hit this creature with his truck, the semi, and he got out, and the creature was dying. There was blood in the road. He said it was aspirating, everything that an animal does when you have internal bleeding, when you're crushed, or a person. It was dying. So he calls wildlife. Wildlife shows up. Oh, it's just a deformed deer that probably has wasting disease. He said this thing has female anatomy, breasts. It's walking on two legs. It's got fur all over it like a deer. I mean, he said it was so much human but so much animal. Anyways, they take the creature away. The next day, that lady does not go to work. Nobody knows where she's at, so they start looking for her, and they don't find her. To this day, she is still considered missing, and they don't know where she went. And the only explanation that they could give was she found a guy on the internet and probably ran off with him. But she left all her belongings and everything.
Gee, imagine that.
Yeah,
That's a very good explanation for a lot of the missing persons cases the law enforcement think a lot of times. I'm not sure that it's because that they want to mislead the public. I would believe it's more, not able to do their job, so just explain it away, something that's believable and not have to do anymore.
right. And Chris Utter, I did have sleep paralysis after that. It happened to me, I believe, 3 times. Kirk, they want to know: is your team member
Yeah, I
okay?
see.
And does he still hunt cryptids?
Okay. After Tom healed up, we went right back to the same area, which very important. Uh, Very important to him. He said he had to face his fears. Well, that's where we encountered what I really don't know what it is to this day. Some people have told me it was a rake. It ran right at Tom. It came down out of a tree, ran right at Tom, ran within 3 to 4 foot of Tom. Absolutely scared Tom. Point where we left at that point in time. He could not get to a store quick enough. Didn't at the time know why. As soon as I stopped at the store, he ran in, bought a 24 pack of beer. He just proceeded to start drinking. and he couldn't face it. He became an alcoholic. After about a year, he turned to drugs and then hard drugs. And within 3 years of that encounter, he's no longer with us. I really don't want to get into the details of that, but it was not nice. Too many people, we've lost too
You
many people
know,
in this field.
that's a big thing when that happens to you. When you see something like that, it's scary.
Yeah, like I said,
I mean,
he
it.
goes from having his leg cut by that woman to all of a sudden the very next time that we go out, we go right to the same spot, and we're literally within 30 yards of where the cut happened. Only instead of him being against the fence line, the tree line, he's a little farther out. He figures that's going to give him a whole lot better chance to react in case something does come out after him. Well, he just never thought what was going to come out was going to be this. And quite truthfully, I froze. I'm not ashamed to say it. When it was running at us, and I was probably 10, 12 foot away from him, you could tell it was running at him. I pretty well froze and just watched it happen. And it never made an attempt to go at him. It was just very close to him. This thing looked pretty much a human body. It was on the side of a tree, holding on when it saw us. It scaled down the tree head first. Literally, it when it hit the ground, it started running at us on all fours. It had somewhat of a human shape to it, with kind of a human head, but not really. And its mouth was way too big for the head. I mean, it looked like it could swallow a watermelon whole. Damn.
So yeah, it really messed with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I agree with what Candy Wolf said. How many of us would have frozen? I think the majority would, and I believe she's right. Uh, you know, I mean, one person asked a question. I had to hold it there too long. They said, "What happens to the new owners of a house if the previous owners were gifting a creature? What would happen to the new owners?"
Well, the new owners don't understand what the other guys were doing, and the cryptids, they sure don't care. They still expect their food and their gifts, so it's
Yep.
going to continue. And the
Yeah,
new
it's
owners,
not
they're
a
going to
good
be in a lot
thing.
of trouble.
It's not a good thing at all if you gift. The new owner is going to expect, or rather, the cryptid is going to expect the new owner to continue with it. And when it doesn't, things are going to start going bad around that house.
Right. It's
And as much as I hate to
then if
say
they
this,
then if they have.
go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just going to say, and especially if they have children, the new owners.
Yep.
Someone said they ought to be uh, or disclose it and disclosure. Yeah. Well,
I agree. There should
What do
be
you think the new
disclosure.
owners are going to think? They're going to think that the guy that they're buying the property off of is crazy. They're going to be like, well, this
Yeah.
guy thinks he got Bigfoot and stuff. I believe I'll change
Well,
my
and
mind.
I think once more that goes back to boots on the ground. You know, if a person actually is having trouble with a cryptid, they need to get a hold of us. Not necessarily me, not necessarily you, but they need to get a hold of somebody to research this, go out there, look at the situation, try to gather evidence, and that way they know actually whether there is a cryptid there or not. That can be disclosed to the potential buyers.
Yeah.
I actually, now I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, and when I bought the home I'm in, there was actually a haunting disclosure in the contract.
Wow.
So, if there's a disclosure for a ghost, why wouldn't you be able to put in a disclosure for any cryptid activity? And quite frankly, if someday when I go to sell this place, I will disclose that I have had both Bigfoot and Dogman here at the house. Not by my choice either, but yeah, they've been here.
Well, that would be fair to the new owners, but a lot of people are afraid that they'll back out on the deal.
And if they back out, so be it. At least they're forewarned. When I sell something, I want people going into it, their eyes wide open. I don't want them to have any surprises. And quite frankly, it would have been nice to know when I bought this place, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they got to disclose any kind of murder or suicide or anything. Well, I know they do here. I don't know about other states. But someone was murdered, committed suicide. They got to disclose it here, and you got, so why not have to disclose cryptid? But like most people ain't gonna believe you anyway. They're just gonna think you're nuts, and they'll still purchase the property until then, till they see it, and then they're going to come back and blame you for not telling them.
Right?
So it's like a win-win situation, but you're losing either way.
Yeah, it's not a good situation if you do have cryptids visiting your house, but you know, like I say, the new owners they need to know what they're walking into. Maybe it'll cost you a sale, maybe it won't, but they need to know.
I keep getting booted. I had to prove my authenticity to be back on, guys.
Carolina girl, the cryptids don't know. The only thing they're interested in is that the gifting continues. And when the gifting stops, they get a big time attitude.
Oh
There's been
yeah,
people. There's been people killed over that.
yeah, they'll
Yes.
come right in the house then.
Um, it's
Now,
first time I've ever had to prove my authenticity. That was still got me kind of frustrated. Uh, yeah. Anyways, well, gentlemen, I guess we might as well get to the other part of the conversation we was going to have tonight. Uh, what we think's important and what we think's not. I've sent y'all something in private chat also. Uh, we're going to talk about why we think boots on the ground is important to investigations in locating evidence and other things of importance. I'll start off. I'll take the lead here. If you don't have boots on the
Good
ground,
night, Cynthia.
then you don't have a book, you don't have a conversational piece, you don't have any knowledge of what's out there. All you have is stories. If you don't validate a story and you don't check to make sure that it's true or what's happening with the story, then all you are, in my opinion, you are just another person telling a campfire story. I mean, that's like if a surgeon walks into the room and a surgeon says, "Kurt, you got some bad news. You got to have a quadruple bypass." Now the good news is, I've read a lot of books on it. I've never done it personally, but I've read a lot of books on it, and I'm going to be the one taking care of you. Now we have another doctor. If you'd like a second opinion, he's read the books and he's also done the procedures. So, which one of us would you like to work on you? And then we'll start from there.
Very good analogy. You know, as I've said before, I've got a database of over 900 case files. Over 300 of them I've actually went out, put boots on the ground, looked at, gathered evidence. 30 of them I've cast prints from, which, by the way, it's pretty hard to cast prints in snow because as your plaster Paris is trying to set up, it's also warming itself and it melts the print out and you end up with just a blob. Otherwise, I would have cast more. But if
When
you're
I
not
first
boots on the ground, you're never going to see this kind of stuff. You're
no,
never going to see the claw marks on trees. You're never going to see the claw marks on a house 9.5 foot tall. It's like, okay, number one, there were no bear here. Number two, if there were bear, it wouldn't have done what it did. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't see too many black bear reaching up 9.5 foot and
nope,
leaving claw marks.
nope. And that particular one that I was referring to was up in Ohio, uh, shall we say central northern Ohio, and there are no bear up there as to
No,
speak of. I mean, just occasionally you might have one tra- traversing through farther south, but no, that far north there are no bear. And like I say, the scratch marks went up to the eave of the house, which was 9.5 foot high.
yeah,
Right. And
So,
also, uh, it'd be like sitting at your desk and somebody say, "Oh, we got a murder down here on Third Street. Joe Blow done it," but you never go investigate it. You never collect the data. You just take his word from it. So you say, "Okay, we'll give him life in jail." If there's no investigation, then all we have is somebody's word. And we
Yeah,
know
it's
how that can
hearsay.
turn out. We know that, right, that's hearsay. It's speculative. And there's a reason that hearsay is not allowed in court, because hearsay has been proven over and over and over to be false. It's not believable. Um, you know, I could sit here all night and I could pull books all night long and I could read them
Right?
and I can tell you, what the book says. But if you say, well, Mike, what did the air feel like when you was in there? Did you hear anything else? Was there a smell? Did you see something on the ground? Did the footprints, did they have an arch? Were they flat? And I could say, well, I don't know. I just seen it in a book. Oh, well, you didn't actually investigate it, so you didn't see how it was, what it was, because you know I'm an author, and since I'm an author, I know everything, right? No, that's not true. Authors gain knowledge through investigators. Authors that are true authors, they get their hands dirty. They're not pretty boys that don't go into the woods. You have to get your hands dirty to understand what you're investigating, okay? Now, I
That's
mean,
exactly it.
if you don't go in the woods, then you're no more than any other news channel out there just reporting the news. I don't want to be the reporter. I want to be the investigator. I want to be able to look at it all. I want to see the whole picture. I want to have my hand, per se, in the pie. I want to know that what I'm talking about, I've experienced. If you're going to pass on information and you want to listen to stories and stuff like that, there's channels out there that you can go listen to that on. My channel, is not that. A person the other night, without saying any names, he made a few objections that I didn't agree to. He said, I'm an entertainer. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to investigate and I'm here to find the truth. I don't want to entertain. If I wanted to do a channel on entertainment, then I would go and go ride a bike off a cliff or something, and y'all could watch me crash and roll around and moan and groan. But I want to find the truth, you know. And then he even says another thing. He says people want me to tell their stories because of the way I tell them and the way I hype them up. I don't want to hype a story up. I want to tell you facts. And I believe that whenever we go away from the facts and we sit behind a desk or a cubicle or a mom or whatever you sit behind and you don't go out into the field, you have no real world experience. Yeah, on paper, things may look a certain way, but how many things on paper fail when they put them to the test? A lot of things look good on paper. A bumblebee on paper scientifically cannot fly, but they do fly because we've seen them fly. Now, if I was reading a book and I was to read about a bumblebee, the first thing I'm going to say is a bumblebee can't fly. Well, thank God we got boots on the ground researchers that say I've been in the woods and I've seen them fly, and here's the video. And I'll let y'all.
Oh,
Well, I'd just like to say until these keyboard researchers who don't put any stock into boots on the ground, until they felt the hot breath of a dog man on them from 3 foot away, looked at its inch and a half long canine teeth as it snarls at you, and then thank God bounce off. or until they are close enough that they can count the hairs on a damn Sasquatch, they have no clue what they're talking about.
Dina says some people really aren't good at public speaking or storytelling, and it's just a better idea to let someone tell their encounters for them. It's happened many times. I disagree. And it's the first time really that I disagree with a lot of people. And the reason I disagree is because it's been scientifically proven whenever I've done my investigative schooling. You can take 100 people, you can whisper a short phrase into their ears, and by the time it reaches the guy at the end, the story will be so distorted that the truth isn't put out there and there will be things added to it. If you want the truth, sit there with a good investigator that's able to help that person tell their story. Don't tell the story for them. Let them tell their story. You just assist them in telling the story. Because if we allow other people to tell the stories, there's too many creepy pasta people out there that's going to add things to it for views. I'm not I'm not here to do that. I want to find the
No,
truth. I want to be there. I want to see it.
no, that's what this is all about. We are looking for the truth. We want to find the truth, not just for ourselves, but for everybody out there. Game of telephone.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Um,
Yep.
Football cat is mentioning
Yeah.
Jessica Jobley, the cryptid huntress. She's awesome.
Very
She's
good
Yes,
lady.
a boots on the ground. She's a real investigator. She's a field investigator. She goes out. She puts her mouth where her money is. You know, I'll say it backwards. You know what I mean? Why I put it backwards? But it's
Yep.
if you're not out doing it, then you're nothing more than a campfire story. I mean, and there is room, and I'm not saying there's not room for armchair investigators. They are needed. They are people that help spread the news. They're needed. It's not that they're not needed and that they're not valuable. But don't knock the people that's out there bringing the evidence to you to be able to analyze, to be able to
Right.
talk about, to be able to do. Um, you know, it's it's just to me it's asinine to believe that boots on the ground in any investigation, cryptid, a missing person, a
Criminal.
missing child, criminal. Yes, it all has to be boots on the ground. I mean, how would you like for somebody to come to your house and you tell them, "Well, my child's missing. Can you find them?" And they say, "Well, I read a book. Odds are your kid ain't coming back. You're never going to see him again. So we're not going to look for him." You're not going to accept that, and you shouldn't accept that.
Right.
I mean, you have to have hands on to be able to study something, to investigate something. Because I'll guarantee you, when I go to the emergency room and a doctor tells me he's read every book on it, but he's never done it, he ain't touching me. I want that doctor
yeah,
sitting over
really.
there that says, yeah, I want that doctor over there in the corner that says, I may not have read every book, but I can do this procedure with my eyes closed because I've done so many of them, there's nothing to do. And Cal knows exactly what I'm talking about because he knows somebody that is a surgeon. And
Yeah.
everything that's in that book is not how you do things. Just
That's
like in
No.
right.
law enforcement, you go to the
The
academy.
surgeon, the surgeon I know, Okay, I always said, you go through, you learn the books, right? You learn the procedure. But when it come right down to it, when it came to the first time of doing it, you threw the book out the window and you started learning your own way. But you followed the book, but you didn't do exactly everything like the book, would tell you to do it. But you had to learn on your own. You understand what I'm saying? You do it by the book,
Exactly.
but you put your own technique to it.
Right. Whenever I was I'm a field training officer. I have that certification. That's what I did. And I told the guys that came straight out of Cleat, forget what you learned. We're going to teach you how it really works out here. Because if you come out and you do it the way they teach you, you're not going to make it. You
Right.
won't make it. All they're doing when you go to school is they are teaching you the outline of how things work. They're teaching you criminal procedure. They're teaching you, investigational skills, how to prepare a report, what judges look for in a report. Now, each judge, and you learn that as you're working, requires it to be written a little different. Some like it written in two different colors. Two different colors meaning two different things. What's important, what's not important. Some judges like it all one color because they like to read it all. It just depends on the judge. But you know what? They're all boots on the ground.
Yep.
They are all working with their hands. They're not just believing everything, that they hear. If you believe everything you hear, I can call in, say Cal has he starts up a podcast. If he's not going to investigate me and he wants to believe everything that I call in and tell him, I can give him a hell of a show. It may not mean shit when I'm done, but
But it's a hell of a
but if
show.
you're not
Exactly.
gonna, if you're not gonna, that's right. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for when you go to these different channels. Are you looking for true investigative, looking for the truth, or are you looking for a fantasy scare? And there's a difference. And this is my opinion. I mean, it's what I believe. Kirk, I'm gonna let you rant because I know you said you had a lot of things to say about it. I want to take a breather
Okay.
here.
First of all, with boots on the ground, unless you're doing it, you're never going to know the truth. Whether you do it to be able to pass the knowledge on to anybody else, that's a personal thing between you and your creator. All right. If you choose to pass the knowledge on to others, that is fantastic, but it must be the truth. That's what we do here. We search for the truth. Now, my one teammate, when he was having problems with first a Sasquatch behind his house, then the damn Sasquatch got ran off by a dog man. Uh, was absolutely just blew my mind. Didn't think it was going to happen. We were able to get prints of the Sasquatch before it was ran off. We were able to get prints of the dog man after it ran him off. We literally, had we not went out there and looked, we would have never gathered those prints. We would have never had a clue what it was that was killing his livestock, why the livestock was coming up missing. Some of the times it was just things would disappear without a trace. Other times it would kill indiscriminately and leave the livestock lay. There's no animal per se that kills for the sake of killing. So, with that being said, then it takes a lot of boots on the ground to go ahead and try to figure out what the hell it is that just killed this livestock and left it. Didn't touch it, didn't eat it, didn't take a bite out of it. No marks on the livestock other than its neck being broke.
Like what
You are
Tanisha says,
very correct.
if if you just read and not go boots on the ground, you would just be a very gullible and believe everything you hear because you have no experience, self-collected evidence, or compare the story head on. That's 100%.
Yep, yep. She
Um,
is 100% correct. You know, we go out, and unfortunately, this year haven't been out as much as I want, nowhere near as much as I want. But point blank, when we go out, it might be 10 times, never have an encounter. Go exactly where we know. We've seen them before. We've had encounters before. Some of the encounters have not been nice. Uh, where one teammate actually had to drop a magazine shooting at a cryptid for us just to be able to get out of there. But yet, like I say, you go back the next time, you might go to that same spot 10 times and never have another thing there. And about the time you let your guard down, go back there thinking, nothing's going to be there. It hasn't been there. No sense. But you go there anyways, figure we'll have, we'll camp out and just have a decent, relaxing time. And all of a sudden, there you're face
and
to
then
face,
like what
7
Tanisha
foot.
just said, and sadly, a lot of people like to mess with Bigfoot people, and they'll lie to you.
Quite
Yep.
true. I mean, we had that dog man, 7.5 foot tall dog man within 30 foot of us hiding in the underbrush.
I like this. We're
Thank
getting
you,
a lot of
Jeff.
hashtags, boots on the ground. That's what I like to see.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ellen. You know,
And then I'm going to let Cal have the floor because Cal does a lot of boots on the ground. That's part of what he does. I mean,
Yeah.
Cal is more of a boots on the ground person than he is a podcaster anyway. And he probably has a lot to say about this. I know Cal's been injured whenever he's been boots on the ground. It's blood, sweat, and tears when you do this.
A lot of blood and a lot of sweat. I'm, let's see, was it in 2021? I spent 258 days in the woods out of that year. I was in the woods. I'm not per se, for days upon days, but a lot of times I was. But then I was there at least a couple of hours every day of them days. I mean, I missed my wedding anniversary that year because I was in the woods researching and being boots on the ground. And I caught grief when I got home, but I did get some fabulous evidence that day. Not so much that night, but that day I did good. And like you said, I've been injured. I've had teammates get injured, had a teammate get followed home, and but that's a different story. We'll do it, but
I think we should
yeah,
have a video on where you got hurt. I think we should talk more about where you got hurt because you suffered a very extent injury. It wasn't a small injury.
no, yeah, it wasn't. You got the PQ2, right? You got the pig
Yeah,
bunking, right?
I have the photographs. Yes, we'll have to share those on the Facebook page. They do go against YouTube guidelines because of how graphic they are, of how bad you were injured. so we
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be able to share them.
yeah. Just go ahead and we can post it on your Facebook, and we can go at it from there. I mean, it was a pretty serious injury. It was bad enough I couldn't walk. I had to be helped to the side by side to get out, and then on my own
Oh, I
property.
saw the injury. I think Kirk saw the injury.
Yeah.
It was a major injury.
Yep. No doubt about it.
It was a bad injury.
Oh
And
I mean,
yeah,
it
quite
just goes back.
frankly, it reminds me a lot
it was
of the
bad enough.
same injury Tom
It was
suffered.
it was bad enough that my wife, for about a month, wanted me was on to me every day to quit. You're not doing it no more. You're not. You got this today. What's the next going to be? You know. And I
Well,
told her, I said, "Well,
also it wasn't just then though, Cal. You're still dealing with this injury today.
yeah, it flares up, and in the past little bit, it's been pure torture. But what don't kill us just makes us stronger.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. Cal goes to people's houses, helps them out of his own pocket, get rid of cryptids that are bothering them. He does this as a free service. He doesn't expect a dime from it. He
Nope.
does it for research, and he also does it to help people. And mainly, if they have children, he does it for free. So, not only has he served our country, he's still serving our country. And my hat's off to you for that, Cal.
No, thank you. But no, I don't. No, it's a free service I offer, as long as but I have to have proof that you are having problems. I'm not just gonna jump up and go wild goose chasing, because if I get there and you're laughing, ha 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 ha, I made you come all the way here, you're not gonna like the end results of it. I'm telling you.
It takes a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, my last one set me back, and it was in state. We drove time. I paid, got fuel and everything. I was at like $450. But the main thing is we had the outcome that we was, well, I ain't gonna say that word. We had the outcome that we was hoping for,
Right.
and
The family was
it was,
happy
Good
when you
way to
left.
put it.
yeah, the family was happy. The little girl was safe at the end of the day. So yeah,
You
and
know,
and
speaking
it
about
all boils down to boots on the ground. I mean, without boots on the ground, you ain't. I mean, how you gonna get prints casted, right?
You know,
They ain't
and
gonna
think
break his
about it. I'm
name on your
still
door.
suffering from the injury I received from them.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Go ahead,
mean,
tell them, Kirk, what happened to you.
Well, just basically a juvenile Sasquatch snatched me by the right leg and pretty much snapped me like you would a
bullwhip.
beach towel. I have torn muscles yet. It's never gonna heal. I walk with a limp ever since this happened. This happened in 2020. So I've been pretty well going through hell for 3 years with it now. Uh, I mean, I could go a lot deeper into how it actually happened, but like I say, until you're close enough that you can count the hair on one of these things, it, yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to say thanks,
You know, I
everybody. Uh, See, Duke, thank you.
I just I don't want to be an entertainer. That's not what I
No,
want to do. It's okay to be an entertainer if that's what you want to do. That's not what
right.
I want to do. Um, that's not why I done it. That's why we always said we're going to seek out the truth. For instance, at my granny's house, if the people wouldn't have came down and helped her try to find this creature, And he wouldn't have walked around the back of the house and seen this creature standing at the back of the house and only would have took our word for it. The only thing he could have ever said was, they told me. But he got to go witness it for himself, to see it standing there in its flesh and blood, and to hear it speak to him and say, hello. So, a lot of people will lie to you. And I've been lied to many times in my job when I worked. And, I had a person ask me just the other day from getting hit in the mouth and having surgery. I've got stitches in my mouth right now. And they said, would you go back and do it again? Absolutely. I loved serving the people of my community. I loved serving my country. And yes, I would do it again. I love my country. And I have the utmost respect for everybody that has fought for this country. And yes, I would do it again. But also, I know that if I was not in my, I'm sorry about the dog, guys. If I was not in my capacity of working the streets, then I could not sit there and tell you and be, 100% sure at what I tell you, what I've seen and what I've done. I'm a person that if I tell you something and I'm telling you from my point of view to what I believe, I want to have seen it myself. If somebody else tells me, and Kurt and Cal will tell you the first thing, that's what I always tell them. Now, I didn't see this, but this is what they said, and I think that they are somewhat believable. I never tell them it is factual. I don't want to mislead somebody to make false reports and to believe false things. And also, I got to say this. Kurt, me talked about it. I didn't know if I was going to go there, but I am going to say this. I'm just going to say it. If you come on my channel and you want to challenge me, you don't believe what I'm saying, or you disapprove of something. Number one, I'm not going to hate you for it. Number two, I'm probably going to respect you more for it. Number three, I don't mind a good spirited debate, because if you don't have the intelligence to be able to back what you're saying, then you're not credible. You have to
Right.
be credible. And if you're credible, that means that you have the experience, you have the knowledge, and you have the boots on the ground, and you know what you're talking about. Now, the only time we will ban you is if you attack personally, which to me is a sign of ignorance and stupidity. Because if you cannot have a debate without attacking somebody personally, then that means you're either losing the argument, or you don't have the intelligence to be able to debate it, or you're not man enough to just say, "Hey, I don't know about that subject." And I'll say that many times. I tell Kirk and Cal all the time, "I don't know, but I'll find out."
Exactly. It's the
Um,
same thing I say.
uh, April Black,
Southeast
your brother,
Ohio,
my lady.
please hit me up
He
on
sends
Facebook and we'll set something up.
accidentally now.
April Black, thank you for the service. Please let them know. Uh, you know, my friend, and I'm glad to call her my friend, the Cryptid Huntress. She has been to places that a lot of men would not go. She went to a cave. She goes in the woods. She has a great heart. She has a little boy that she's taking care of by herself. And I think she's a fabulous person. I think she's a very strong lady. And I wish her the best. I think that she's one of the best investigators out there. Like I said, she goes to where the action is. She actually, we talked about her today in our meeting, and she blows our mind because she is good at what she does. She has a lot to share, a lot to teach, and I think she's an awesome person. and I think that she is going to go far. I really think she is. Um, she's on tonight. She'll be on Spaced Out Radio, so go check her out, guys. I mean, she'll speak for herself, and she'll show you how good she really is. Uh, when I shot that thing in the cattails, I couldn't have shot that thing in the cattails if I just would have hid in Granny's house. I could have hid in there. I could have never went out there and looked for it. But there was always a part of me, being who I am, that
You
I
have,
had to go see what it was. I had to know.
Yeah.
yes, Jessica
And
is.
I mean, I don't know. I just cannot put a lot of stock in the story if you haven't been out there. I mean, they talk about, oh, you're going to get diseases in the woods. You're going to get this and get that and get this. You know what? It's the men and women that's went to those woods that have found the cures for diseases. They didn't find those plants by reading a book. They went in, they investigated, they explored, and they found. Then the books were written. Being an author does not make you an expert on anything. All it means is you had enough money to write a book. And I could write a book about me and my best friend, the polished turd, and I could be an author. It doesn't mean I have an intelligence. It just means that I have a book.
Correct.
Anyone can write a book, but not everyone can go in the woods and be a boots on the ground. It takes guts, it takes bravery, and it takes the knowledge of the woods to be able to do that. My opinion.
You can't do it sitting at the house. That's for sure.
And I'm going to tell you what, if you're not in the woods, if you're not looking, you're never going to see this stuff for the most part. Now, if you don't see it, what can you actually draw your conclusions from? You know, Hank and I have had many encounters because we've been in the woods quite, quite a lot. Several of my teammates have had plenty of encounters simply because we have been in the woods a lot. You know, I've been asked by a half
I'd like to
dozen
welcome
different.
Josh. I'd like to welcome Josh Turner. Josh Turner's in the audience tonight, so I'd like to welcome him to the
Welcome,
show. And
Josh.
even though he doesn't agree,
Hey, Josh.
I won't remove him.
Good to see
I
you.
will allow him to stay.
Sure. As I said, I've got a database of over 900 encounters, over 300 I've personally investigated. And, out of those 300, probably 260, 270 were 100% correct in what they were telling me. But let's face it, unless you actually do the research, look at it, you're not going to know whether they're telling you the truth or not. I can compile all these
Right.
stories, all this data, all this research from people, and if it wouldn't been for all the ones I've went out and researched on my own, if it wouldn't be for the encounters I've had myself, if it wouldn't been for the encounters that I've been with other people when they've had, I'd just have to take people's words for it, and it'd be worthless.
Right. Josh said I would allow a debate. Yeah, I would answer any question, Josh, that you would have. I have no problem. Um,
Correct?
I mean, I have no problem answering any questions that you would like to ask. I'll even have my moderators look for your question if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. I've got no issue with that. I've probably been asked more questions in my life than you could ever imagine. Um, I haven't leveled anything at you, Josh. I'm just uh, having a show tonight talking about why I believe boots on the ground is important to investigations. This isn't leveled at anybody. This is merely a just a an opinion to why I believe that boots on the ground is important. Um, I don't believe that an individual should be, you know, called out on a show that is supposed to be your friend, uh, because I think history, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cal or Kurt, but I think history has proven that if we don't go out and get our hands dirty, then we can't find the truth. I know that whenever I worked and I was an investigator for 10 years, that if I would have never went into the field and just would have read a book, there ain't a judge in this whole United States court system would ever take me serious.
No.
Um, I can't stand before a judge and say I read a book. He's going to want to know, what did you see? And when you write a book, there are things that your senses are not going to pick up: smells, the way a crime scene looks. Because I'm telling you, being at a place and hearing about a place is two different things. Because you will pick up on different things when you're actually at a scene. If you're trained and you know what you're looking for, you're going to find different things. And Josh, like I said a while ago, and everybody heard me say it, there is a place for people that spread the information. I agree with that. And I think that the information should be spread. That's what brings attention to the subject. But I think without the boots on the ground, there is no information to be shared. Because if you don't have the people putting in the footwork, then you don't have anybody in the labs able to to do an analysis on anything. You have to have the product and able to investigate it. And it works two different ways. The same as, our forensic scientists, they don't go into the woods because that's just not their job. But without the boots on the ground, they don't have nothing to analyze, to look at, or to compare data to, because there's
Sure.
nothing coming in. I mean, there's a reason in court that hearsay is not admissible, because it's
That's
most of the
right.
time proven either exaggerated or it's a lie. I have no problem with any spectrum of the investigative process, but I don't believe one process should be called, worse than the other. You should be called down for it. Um, I think that it's important that of custody, as you would say, I think it's important that all chain of custody is followed in order to come to a conclusion or analysis to what you believe is happening. But I believe that boots on the ground is the first and most important process of coming to a conclusion. Because without evidence, then we cannot make a conclusion.
Guys, I'll
It's
be back
the
in
same as a
just a minute.
prosecutor or a defense attorney will gather information.
It's-
Uh, whatever you want to, if you want to type it, Josh, in uh, big letters or whatever, I'll post it. I'll do my best to answer it. I've got no problem answering it. I will let you say your piece on here. I'm not going to remove you. I won't do that. Everybody knows I don't do that. I'm just waiting for the questions. All I'm doing, Cal.
okay. Where'd Kurt go?
I think he might have lost. I think he might have lost connection. He was having some trouble. Yeah,
He
I
was
think.
earlier.
Yeah. Well, Josh, I'm not going to take demands from you, but you got things to do. I will bid you a good night, and thanks for stopping by. So, Cal, on the injury that you got, uh, are you healing right now?
Yeah, so far it's healing. I went into there is some a little reservation here, not too far away from the house I went to, and I know I know the one of the sub chiefs, Dennis,
Uh-huh.
and he hooked me up with uh, their medicine man, their shaman, and he gave me some poultice, and he wrote the ingredients down. I mean, they're not hard to get or anything. You can find them about anywhere. Just tell me how to make the poultice, and I put it in some gauze and wrapped it around my leg and stuff, and it works. It works great. But you know,
I know that whenever I saw the pictures of your leg, that was a horrific injury.
yeah, I mean, at first, when it happened, I guess where it's so deep that it didn't register. But then, after I took, well, the first step was I can't remember if it hit me the first step or the second one, but then the pain started hitting. Again, I just it buckled where that tendon was messed up. It just buckled, and I couldn't put no weight on it or anything. They had to help me to side by side. They had to pretty much strain the pack my fat ass.
That's the way I am. I said if I ever get hurt in the field, they got a lump to carry out for sure.
Yeah, I mean
They're gonna earn their pay.
yeah. I hope they eat their Wheaties. I'm telling you, cause
So
I'm like,
it's
don't
just
drop me, don't drop me, don't drop me. And
oh, especially if you're hurt.
yeah,
You know, if you're hurt, then that's a different story too. Because I don't want to be dropped if I'm hurt, and I've been dropped when I've been hurt. Man, I was stabbed one time, and I was standing there, and a knife blade went the scar right here where I was stabbed. It went just above my, it's hard to see, just above below my thumb, and I was standing there. And every time you get hurt, somebody's going to hit it.
yeah,
And sure
yeah.
enough, somebody walked through and hit my hand, and oh my gosh, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I know. It's it wasn't even funny that night. I mean, I kind of got scared there for a few moments. Then I noticed. I looked at it. It wasn't like a steady stream of blood, and I'm like, whew, no artery. Then it kind of dawned on me, what in the hell did I,
Yeah,
get into to cut me like this? And I'm like, what? And then And I had to listen to Dad. Well, what was you doing? And I told Dad exactly what I was doing. He's like, well, you need to go up there and see what it was, because, the grandkids go up there. I'm like, neither one of the girls go up there. It's, it's
Right.
not blacktop. There's not a store there. It's all woods and dirt. Trust me, neither one of the girls are going up there. Because if they get,
Right.
if they get a little dirt on them, oh, the world's coming to an end.
It's talking about boots on the ground and investigating stuff and like that. I remember one time we had went fishing, and when we was fishing, we heard something crawling around over in the grass one time, and I don't know. I went over to see what it was, and I'm not afraid to admit sometimes I've got scared, and the closer I got to where whatever this was, I started having like second thoughts, and I was like, oh, maybe this ain't a good idea, and
Mm-hmm.
I did back out. I did,
I backed out several
I
times,
just
but then curiosity gets to me, and I'm like, well, shit. Curiosity
yep,
gonna get the cat again.
and that's what it done to me. I was like, but it's
Yeah,
just
cause
I
it
don't
keeps
know,
it keeps
just
doing it, and
funny.
you're like, yeah, you're more and more. You're like, oh God, quit, quit, quit. I don't want to come over there, but yep, too late.
And then you push yourself, and then you end up going over, and you find out that it's not really what you wanted to look at. But you know, I guess
Whoa,
we
whoa, whoa,
may
whoa, whoa.
end up having
Check your private chat.
a private chat.
Yeah.
Uh, we may end up having a yeah, that's fine, Cal. Go ahead and
Huh?
do that if you can find him in the chat.
I
That's
can't.
that's good by me.
I
Thank
can't.
you.
Um,
I can't.
there's Kurt coming back, or Shelly if you can. If well, she's probably not on the private chat with you. We're trying to load Kurt back in.
There he is.
There you are.
I got that on your chat now, Mike.
Sorry, I had to relocate. I was losing my internet signal.
Uh oh. Like what Frida said. Let's not waste any more energy on it. If it's him, he came across pretty aggressive on another man's channel. You don't dictate to someone on their channel what they should and shouldn't do. That's why I told him that I wasn't going to meet his demands, Frida. I would answer any question that he wanted to ask me. As you all seen, I gave him the floor. I was professional with him. He got outraged as usual in the chat, and he left in one of his tangents that he's known for doing. Uh, I'm not going to do that here. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you. I'll answer your questions, but we don't throw fits here. Um,
Nope,
I
nope. And
I've
when
got
we answer questions, we do it truthfully and professionally.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
and it's just one of those things, one of them things. Uh, oh yeah, I kept my cool. Oh yeah, trust me.
Very much so.
I've been in so many other situations. Football cat, way larger than this. It wasn't hard at all. Um, what is this? Here we go. Here we go. Let me throw this one up. Mike and Cal Kirk, did you miss my question? Didn't remember. Yeah, I didn't see it, Carolyn. If you will put it back up, I will look for it. The chat's moving kind of fast right now. Uh, make sure we find Carolyn's question. I don't want to miss her question. I try to catch
Exactly.
everybody's. I am slow. people are saying they think it was a fake troll account by him. I don't know if it was or not. It was rumored tonight that he was going to come on the channel, possibly be aggravated because
Hmm.
I support Jessica. I mean, there's no way of knowing if it was him or not. In the computer age, it could be anyone. But I mean, I'll answer
I don't.
anybody's question.
I'm looking. I'm looking for her their question, and I'm not finding it. Okay.
We're looking,
Uh.
Carolyn. If you want to rewrite it, we'll watch
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
it.
Carolyn, please
Rewrite
rewrite
it.
it. We'll address it now.
No, I'm not. I'm not finding it. Lord.
Yeah, but it's not only who the bigger man is, but it's also professionalism.
Whoa. 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 Hold on.
Yeah, it's nothing about that. It's about investigational procedure, chain of command.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
There is a reason for that, and there's a reason because it works.
All right, Carolyn, are you referring to the question that you wrote stating, Mike Kurt Kell, I'm in Southeast Ohio. I believe we need someone here, boots on the ground. I'm not able, or I would. I swear I would. How do you find someone reliable in this area? Please, Mike, you know. Is that the question? That's the only one
Uh,
I could find.
Tell them email me, Carolyn, if that's your question, and I will put you in contact with Cal.
Yes, he'll put you in
Curtis.
contact with
I
me.
don't know who's I don't know who Curtis is talking about, man. I don't appreciate that type of attitude. Pretty arrogant, in my opinion. I don't know if he means me or Josh. I tried not to be. And Carolyn says yes. Um, Double D says let Josh on the show to explain. He explained it on his channel last night. The caller he had was crazy. Okay, that's what I'm going to say about that. God, I didn't want to go here tonight. I'm going to have to. Um, Last night, I attempted to speak with Josh on his show. Um, Josh, that's weird. I just had a thing type out under my name right here that wasn't even me.
No, it's me.
There's somebody using my. Oh,
No,
okay,
it's me.
okay,
It's coming up as you and not me for some reason.
okay. That's cool. That's good. Long as it's you. Uh, Now, if I'm wrong, guys, you tell me if I'm wrong. Last night, I tried to talk to Josh on his channel. I wasn't rude. I tried to talk to him, and the first thing they done is they removed me. They not only banned me from their channel, they banned other followers of me from his channel that were also asking questions. And I've heard a history of him. I don't know fact if it's factual. I was contacted a lot today, and they say there's a lot of drama over there. And I'm just not going to allow it here. I just don't have
Nope.
time for it. Lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse believes I came off aggressive. Lunar eclipse. I know that you are a member of Turner's Roundtable. You are a friend of him. I see you on the channel a lot. I don't know how I would have came off aggressive tonight to him. I gave him the floor. I offered to answer any question he had. I posted his remarks up on the channel. I don't know how I would have been aggressive or rude to him. I did not ban him from the channel like he did me. I allowed him to stay. In fact, I welcomed him to the channel.
Correct. Mike was not aggressive.
I I don't want that over here, guys. I'm sorry, I don't want that here. I'm here to talk cryptids. I'm here to
Yeah.
investigate, and
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what
I
we're
just
here for.
that's what we're here
yeah.
to
With
do.
the
There's enough cryptids out there. There's enough
Here we go. Now
things
we're
that
getting into some
you
cryptid
really
stuff.
need to know about.
yeah.
That
Okay.
stuff
Mike
doesn't mean anything.
and everybody, I'm gonna have to cut this short. But on my behalf, I got to go get my daughter. Apparently, I was supposed to pick her up like 30 minutes ago. Her car's not fixed, and I'm
Okay,
gonna go pick
all
her up
right.
from work. But if Carolyn gets a hold of you, put her in touch with me, and everybody have a good night,
All right, we'll do.
and we will see. I will see you all on the next.
Very good. Carolyn, I'm not familiar with the horse that you're referring to, but it was just 18 miles from you. Could it be related if it was something to do with cryptids? Cryptids, it's nothing for them to travel 30 miles in a night.
Yeah, send us an email on that. I'd like to hear more about that. Uh,
Yeah,
that's interesting to me.
yeah, I'm still very curious about the one that in Southeast Ohio that had the question. I didn't get all the questions so that I could respond. Southeast Ohio is not that far from me.
Uh, they're saying she reposted it again. I thought we'd answered. I think we answered her question, didn't we?
I thought so, yes.
Yeah, I thought we did. Uh,
Silver Moon, you are
I agree,
correct.
Silver Moon. That is the truth. We have we have a person wanting to come on our show. Looks like next Friday, and Kurt, I think, might be working on. We may have a guest next Friday, Kurt.
Yep.
Possible guest. I think it will surprise everybody. What do you think, Kurt?
I think it will.
I think so
Remember, I'm
too.
working on a couple of them, so
Yes, and we may be going on a show,
that is correct.
possibly a large
Yep.
show.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Turquoise Seas. We appreciate that very much. I try to be.
Thank you very much,
We have a question.
Turquoise.
What was your guys' first ever boots on the ground like, and how is it different now that you have done so many investigations? Very good question. My first boots on the ground would have been at my granny's, I'm sure, when I was out trying to figure out what this stuff was. As I got older, investigating, having a vehicle and being able to travel more and to do more, I started learning, I think, more their habitat, where they like to travel, possible places that they like to stay at night. And I did learn something I believe may be a good hypothesis. They love persimmons. It seems like where we would have a thick persimmon grove, we would have a lot of activity.
They also love ferns.
Ah,
You find an area that you have a lot of ferns growing in, you will have cryptids there. Don't know why. Normally, ferns grow in, shall we say, a damper area, but yet they seem to be attracted to that.
Frida says, don't laugh at me, but have you heard of the not deer? Is that just creepy pasta or is that another thing I'm going to lose sleep over. Now that is true. Kirk is aware of the deer lady also. It's not
Yep.
just a. It's happened in a lot of different places.
Yep.
Didn't you actually investigated one of those, didn't you, Kirk?
I've investigated several, and I actually, here's one that I looked into that absolutely blows my mind. That is something along the lines of that. And it's, how do I want to put it? It was more of not so much a deer lady, closer to, and I really don't know how to describe it. Uh, it was definitely female. Yeah, you could see breasts. They were hair covered. Um, it kind of had a human face, but yet it was shaped more along the lines of a horse or a deer's head. A little too large to be a deer's. I mean, it it just it blew my mind. We still don't have an answer for it, and it wasn't just one person that saw it. There were three people that saw it. It was, and as I say, when I say there were three people, it was a group of two people, and then it was a singular person on his own. And the two didn't know the singular person, but yet when interviewed, they all gave the same story. So it's not like the two influenced the one or the one influenced the two. It's there's something out
Right.
there that we can't explain. Don't know, just know that it's weird. When you're posting the video of the guys on the tiny bicycles, oh, when are you posting the guy? Well, let's just say, as I said, we're looking toward the end of July to into August. It is coming up. I am working on it. Uh, God, there's so much though that we have going on right now. Turquoise Sea, thank you very much. And I'm gonna tell you, Mike
We have a
really liked the way he put that about the guys on the tiny bicycles.
it's just we have a lot of big things coming up. We have a very large channel that is possibly wanting us to come on and maybe working something out. I don't know. We're still working on that. Uh, I am going to be going to a place where they're hearing children laughter. I'm going to be going to check that out here pretty soon. And I look forward. I caught the baby crying that one time, so now maybe I can catch
Yes, you
something
did.
laughing. Maybe I can catch something laughing.
Well, I don't know that you really want to catch it, but it's once more, it's something, yeah, we probably don't want that to happen, but we need to investigate it. And if it happens, and we deal with it.
Right. And
You
did
know,
everybody understand what I was saying tonight? That it's not just boots on the ground are better than everybody. Authors are not better than everybody. And it takes the whole. It's the whole thing. But you
takes
have
the
to have.
whole enchilada.
Yeah, you got it. But you have to have the boots on the ground to start it all. That is the seed of the
Yep.
plant. That's the seed. That's where it all has to come from. I think that's just my opinion. It's just an opinion.
Sharon, there's more out there than I know of. There's more out there than Mike knows of. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
where these things are coming from.
there's things out there that we probably hope we don't see.
Very
Definitely
much
keep your head
so.
on a swivel,
Head on the swivel.
guys. I
And
think we've
if you
had a
notice, there's more reports now than there ever have been of Bigfoot, of Dogman, of other things. That damn green eyed thing that I had out here, I don't even know what to classify it as. I know I never want to see it again.
I don't even know what that green face thing was I seen in the tree. I never knew what to call it. I was like, what is that?
Exactly.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I thought it was a frog at first. I was like, is that a big frog? And, I mean,
Yeah, real big.
yeah, because the face, was in the fork of the tree, and all I could see was the face. And I was like, what is, because my eyes been in the lanterns, fishing. I was trying to adjust, and I was like, is that a frog? I could tell it was green and it had black spots on it. And next thing I know, I see the eye blink. I'm like, oh shit, that ain't no frog.
Exactly.
It was scary looking,
Yep.
but we're gonna have, I think, a pretty good show lined up for next Saturday night. I'm excited for it. I think Kurt's excited for it,
Oh, yeah.
and I think we've about just burnt the tires off this show tonight, and I think we're going to take a rest. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. I appreciate y'all being here, the support that y'all give us. Like I said, we do not take advantage, or for granted any of you guys. Uh, that's the one thing that we don't do. We appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are all what makes the family. It's not a clump of
Yeah,
people,
your
it's each
family.
individual. We appreciate, yes, we appreciate each and every one of you being here. We got some good topics going to be coming up. Some good investigations are going to be coming up. Um, it's great to see you guys tonight. I was glad to be able to be here tonight. I didn't know if I was going to be able to or not. Fortunately, I was able to make it. Uh, if we do have one thing, guys. Forgot to mention for the members of the channel, there is going to be another video coming soon. That's going to be a members only drop first. And me and Kirk are putting some work into something for you guys. And so if you're not a member, you want to become a member, you can become a member of the channel and you'll get first view of this. And after it's viewed, it will be a Saturday night topic that we will discuss. And you will get first view of the video if you are a member. So if you're not a member and want to become a member, uh, it's easy to do. Just click the join on the channel, and you can become a member to the channel. And we are going to start doing more drops. With that
Yep.
said, I'm just going to tell everybody thank you for showing up tonight. Keep your head on a swivel. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you on the next one.
Guys, thanks a lot.